and welcome to a new episode of From the Honeycomb podcast. I am your host, Katerina. Each week, we dive into a blend of topics that resonate with the soul. Whether you're an architect enthusiast, have a passion for Wanderlust, want to discover holistic approaches to rejuvenate your body and mind, or are intrigued to learn about Vastu Shastra with a modern approach, you've come to the right place. Join me as I sit down with inspiring, like-minded women from various walks of life. We will delve into their journeys to discuss the challenges and moments that define their paths. So sit back, relax, and let the spark of positive energy ignite your curiosity. Today, I am joined by Petia Kolibova, Abundance and Light Activation Coach. Her mission is to help women unlock their divine feminine mindset through breathwork, Reiki, and human design. She is also the host of the podcast, Unapologetically Abundant. Petia, welcome to From the Honeycomb podcast.
I am so excited to be here. And honestly, you're like the first person who didn't ask me how to pronounce my name. I do not know why, but it is
Yes.
so funny. Like every time someone is having like a recording with me, unless they're from Eastern Europe, they're like, I don't want to butcher your name. How do I say it? So it's just fun to start this way.
That's good. Your name is the easiest to say. Anybody else's name, even some of the Americanized names, the English names, I still struggle with. But like I have a Czech person on, and it just rolls off the tongue. So that's funny. I know we're both Czech, and that's one of the reasons I kind of connected with you when I saw you on Instagram, which we'll get to. But so I'm very excited to have you on From the Honeycomb.
I am so excited to be here. Thank you so much.
And as you know, we begin every episode by sharing something that we are grateful for in the present moment. So, what are you grateful for?
Right now, I am truly fully grateful for being able to work from home because it's right now, it's like everything for me. She's
Mhm.
going to be actually 5 months next week, which I can't believe. I feel like I just popped her out, but my daughter, my first baby, and just being able to be home with her and having my mom here and just having the freedom of time and knowing that everything is taken care of, it just fills my heart with so much gratitude because it just talks a lot about my values of family and freedom and impact. And I can do it from here. It's just so amazing. So I'm super grateful.
I really resonate with that. I work from home as well. And it's just, there's something about being able to work from home. I can just tap into my creativity when I need to. Everything's on my schedule. The freedom, oh my gosh, is unbelievable. So I definitely resonate with what you're saying.
Yeah. It's so beautiful. And I feel like we are truly living in a times like it really depends how you look at life. You can look at life like, oh, we're living in such a challenging times, wars and pandemics and all these things
Mhm.
happening outside. Or you can look at the times that we are living. Like honestly, right now where we are living, just being able to have your own podcast as women,
Yeah.
speaking your truth, making your
Mhm.
own money, doing what you love, that's really new. Like women haven't experienced this, before.
Mhm.
And so I feel like if we can plug it into the gratitude list, I would be really like wanting to say it. Like, I am grateful for the times we're really living in because as women, we have unique opportunities to be the
Mhm.
banners, to be the owners of businesses, to work from home, to speak our truth. Like, honestly, just like few hundreds ago, like we would be like stoned or we would be burned out on stake. I bet I was, if we would talk about past lives, I'm like, with my personality, I probably was. But that's like so amazing the times we're living in and being able to
Mhm.
appreciate it and knowing we want to grow and evolve and create even more. It's beautiful. And like you started your beautiful podcast with, we have to start with the gratitude.
Mhm. No, absolutely. I love everything that you said, and it just made me think. Like, I know a little fun fact is in the United States, the women were able to have their first credit card in 1974. And that's not that long ago.
No.
So it's just the power. And I mean, this is such a great transition to I want to share your story and your coaching programs and what you do for women because you empower so many women. So can you share with us, through the listeners, your journey and what has brought you to where you are today?
Yeah. If I would believe in accidents, I would
Hmm.
say that, where I am, it's by accident. I never wanted to be entrepreneur because you see, when I saw entrepreneurs back in Czech Republic, because that's where I was raised, that's where I'm from. Usually I would say my unpronounceable name it's from, but it's not funny with you because you know how to pronounce it. But for most people, you know, I am from very small town, from very small country, which means that I was raised in the mentality of you have to work really hard, you just have to shut up, you just have to like roll with it. There was a lot of small mindset, a lot of envy. Like there's always like, do you have a bigger house? Do you have a bigger car? Do your kids do this? What do you like? What brands you're wearing? So I was raised in scarcity, not scarcity of like we didn't have money for food, we traveled to nice vacations and things like that. However, in a scarcity of really personal development and even speaking about things and your truth. And I saw it in my mom. I saw it in my grandma. My grandma never lived her dreams. Forget it. She didn't even know what her dreams are. My mom started like personal or spiritual development just like few years ago when I did, when she started to use Facebook, when she started using translator for all the things that I was sharing there because I was sharing all these things with her, but she couldn't grasp it. When we're trying to help our loved ones,
Hmm.
usually when you give free advice, people just don't do anything with it.
Yeah.
I just felt always that I didn't belong in that small country, in that small mindset. I never saw myself as someone as like looking around, like how people lived. I didn't want to just go to school, get to the job, live for a weekend, live for a vacation, have a 2.5 kids, and then die complaining about the world and everything because you're watching news for 20 hours a day, right?
Hmm.
I just knew there must be more, but I didn't know what that more was. And on the search of that internal like quest of the more, I did everything wrong. All the wrong things you can think of. Unhealthy relationships, self-harming myself by cutting, having eating disorder for almost 2 decades, traveling from one place to another, being really underpaid, doing everything and anything I could in the relationship just to people please. And all of that was just stemming from like not feeling enough, really not being able to see myself. And all of that was continuing until almost like my 30s. It
Wow.
started to shift when I was 18, I attempted to suicide because I
Wow.
just look at life. I'm like, if this is life, I don't want to live it. I
Hmm.
ran away from home because my stepfather was physically and mental abusive. So I ran away from home into the arms of a man who was abusive too. Because we don't know. We don't know that there is something better. There's just the same patterns that feel familiar. And I ran away and I was just under so much pressure. I just didn't want to live. And when I was 28, 29, I don't know if you're into astrology, but it's like
Yes.
Saturn in return.
Yes.
Everything in my life got crazy. Everything flipped. It was, oh my goodness. Like back then, I was married to a Czech guy. I brought him to the United States because I just felt lonely. I felt like nobody understood me. So I got married for the wrong reasons. I knew him for
Hmm.
many, many, many years. That didn't last it, but it just made the whole inside of me feel even bigger because we were like the picture perfect couple, quote unquote.
Hmm. Right.
We looked great together. We were both into fitness. I had a, corporate job and just people think that my life is perfect. On the
Hmm.
inside, I was dying. On the
Hmm.
inside, I felt like a failure. On the inside, I felt like ashamed because I was feeling like, oh, I should be grateful.
Mhm.
And even my ex-husband, he was like, "Well, you should be grateful you have me because I don't drink, I don't gamble, I don't beat you up. You should be grateful." But then
Mm.
he was cheating on me and, giving me
Mm.
silent treatment and all these things. Well, he was like, "I'm not beating you up. You should be grateful." And back
Yeah.
then, I believed him.
Mm.
Back then, I didn't believe in myself. But when I got to that age, 28, 29, I was in that space when I was feeling like really heavy and really dark again. And I knew, again, quote unquote, when you fail with suicide, you don't fail for the second time. You learn your
Right.
lessons, right? Then,
Mhm.
unfortunately, that's something that I am here to break the patterns, but it's a pattern in my family. My uncle took his life when he was 40. My grandfather tried to take his life because he was in physically so much pain with his health that
Mm.
he drank acid. He tried to kill himself just a few years ago. So I'm here to really break the cycle. And I started to look outside, and this is over a decade ago, so it wasn't as easy as it's now. I also
Mhm.
wanna I will keep adding. Can I please adding, Katerina, in
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
list
yeah.
to the list of gratitude? I am so grateful
Yes.
for the times that we live in because when you think about it, podcasts like yours,
Mhm.
people can hear it and people can listen for something that can inspire them. And I feel like that wasn't as easy over a decade ago. It wasn't as easy as it's now. Now there's so many podcasts and so many therapists you can follow on Instagram, and TikTok,
Yes.
and I don't even know where threads, like we're all over the place.
Mhm. Yeah.
Back then when I was searching for like the questions, I always say like Uncle Google. I was asking Uncle Google how to be happy, how to overcome suicidal thoughts, how to overcome eating disorder, how to know if your husband is like mistreating you, and things like that. Like, who do you ask that if people think you have a perfect life?
Right.
Right? So you look on YouTube or you look on
Yeah.
Google, and thank goodness I found Louise Hay and all the people on her, publishing, like Dr. Joe Dispenza, Gabby Bernstein, Dr. Wayne Dyer, and people like that. And those people, they brought a hope into my heart, and that's what I needed.
Mm.
I just needed to know that I can do it, and it's worth it to keep living, and there is a reason to keep living. Because when I
Mhm.
look at those people, like even, and it doesn't matter if you like them or not. I posted a few days something on threads about like mentioning Tony Robbins, and there's a girl like, "Oh, I hate this guy. He's such a monster of a human being." I'm like, you can have your opinion, but I feel like however he's doing it, like that's his business, but he's motivating people. And he's people, like reason to live for many of them. And so back then, I was looking at his story, like going from like hungry and being abused as a little boy, or Louise Hay, who had a cancer and healed herself, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who healed his back, injury that they told him he will never walk. And look at him now. Now he's teaching like millions of people how to heal themselves. Gabby Bernstein, who was an alcoholic. So I look at those stories of darkness. And then I started to question, but that was the first time in my life that I wasn't questioning myself.
Mm.
I started to question, what if these things are happening for me? And that's
Mhm.
when everything started to change. Because what if all the hardship we're going through, it's not to put us on our knees or put us out of the quote unquote game,
Right.
but it's about making us stronger so we can help others. And that's why I became who I became now. I came here to United States on a student visa because I got a full scholarship for a college. So I did college, I did bachelor's in marketing, I did MBA in business administration, and then even back then I was living in a wonderland. When I have my school done, then I will be happy. When I am leaner and I have my six pack, then I will be happy. When I get
Mhm.
raised in my job, then I will be happy. There was always the when next.
Mhm.
And that's no way to live. And I didn't know
No.
it. I'm talking about it. I just created a post about it, but it's unconscious incompetence. You don't know what you don't know.
Mhm.
It's so much easier to look back, like Steve Jobs says, like you cannot understand the things looking forward, you can connect the dots looking backward. So I had to look back and look at my life, and then I started to see pattern. Oh, this happened, this broke my heart, this helped me, this healed me. Now I'm giving advice to this person. So I
Mhm.
got fired from my job, from my corporate job. And uh-oh, it broke
Yeah.
my heart. It was very
Yeah.
unexpected. But thank God I did.
Mhm.
I'm the type of person, I'm so loyal, Katerina, that I would be there
Mhm.
until my like retirement days.
Wow.
But now you see, I'm at home. I'm working 2 days
Mhm.
a week. I have multiple 5 figure months. I'm teaching women how to create five or multiple 5 figure months. I take women from their corporate job or having a business with a couple $1,000s and I teach them with ease. I love ease and simplicity. I don't know if you're familiar with
Yep.
human design.
Yes, I am.
I am a generator, but I have a like projector, so I don't want to work. People are like laughing because
Yeah.
I don't want to work. I love the work that I do. I'm not going
Mhm.
to sacrifice 7 days a week. I used to have four side hustles, Katerina. It was
Wow.
exhausting. I was so pissed at the world because I
Yeah.
didn't want to work that much. I had to release everything, part of myself, part of the ego, to become who I am today. So now I can teach women how to create holistic abundance. And
Mhm.
I say holistic because at the beginning, I was also thinking, oh, I will make more money, then I will be happy. Not true. If you
Mhm.
don't learn how to hold it energetically, if you don't learn how to do it in a soulful way, fulfilling way, it's going to be just another checklist on your list and not going to fulfill you. So again, I had to go through all the trials and errors to learn how not to do that. And now I teach
Mhm.
the woman the shortcuts, the easier way. I'm not saying it's easy. Listen, owning a business, let's be honest, it's not easy. It's not. And there are days, listen, I think it was last year and a half ago, I wanted to burn that stuff in the ground. Like, I'm not going to do this. I'll do something completely different. Like I will be like relationship coach or something. I don't want to deal with business. Thank God I didn't. I was going through really dark times because
Mhm.
pregnant and I lost our twins and
Wow.
I was depressed after that. So you see, like no matter where you are in life, no matter how much work you have done, there can be still things that can break you. There can be still things that hurt you. But just knowing that everything is happening for you, even when you cannot see it in a moment, even when you're angry. My husband, he tried to tell me, like, oh, ask God to help you. I'm like, you take your God with you. Like, I'm pissed. Where are my babies? I lost my
Yeah.
baby. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
It's just, I know it's super, super. I mean, we can just end the episode here, but I know it's super long answer to my story. I want people to understand that no matter where you are, you're meant to be there. It's
Mhm.
the perfect time, it's the perfect place, it's the perfect people. You might not like it. Good,
Mhm.
good, because that will help you to shift and change. But it's not wrong for you, and
Mhm.
you're not wrong.
No, I love that message. And I know, especially a lot of people who listen to the podcast episodes are architects. And in architecture, we have to go through a lot of exams. It's 7 exams. And I struggled through those exams a lot. And even hearing your message of, this is your journey essentially. You're meant to be on this journey and you're going to learn from it. And that's how the exams were a long 3-year process for me, and that's one of the first hard, really challenging things I've had to experience, where even though I showed up, I did the work, I saw failure and I didn't get, anything back. So I love that your message is this: you're on the journey, this is where you're meant to be. And I thank you so much for sharing so much of your, the last few years and the struggles and the challenges. And I know it's so hard to open up sometimes, but you just radiated all of this truth and all of this just like abundance and power, just sharing your story. And it really gives, like, you gave so much confidence that, look, there's really shit times, but through that, you're going to grow. It's that lotus flower. You're going to bloom and it's going to be amazing. And you're in that period now, it sounds like, where you are blooming, but it does take time. It's not this overnight success. You go to bed angry, you wake up and, your account has 6 figures and you have 1 million followers on Instagram. It takes work. You have to put in that effort, and you've put in so much effort. And now you're really reaping the rewards, which is incredible to see.
Thank you so much. And, I love that you mentioned that a lot of people who are listening are architects. I remember one of my first clients when I started my coaching business, it
Hmm.
was like life and business, coaching business. She's an architect.
Oh, really?
And when I started to, yeah, Maria, when I started to work with her, she was still living with her parents in like a very small town in like Colorado.
Hmm.
And she was just like dreaming to work on her own because she was like still going to school, but she already was working as an intern in an architectural company. And it was like her dream, like, oh, I would love to like one day work on my own. And she just couldn't see this a possibility. Again, small town, small
Hmm.
mindset, don't think crazy, don't think too big, find yourself stable job, blah blah blah. And now Maria is living in Spain. She is traveling. She is, she's doing also like a sacred geometry in her
Oh, okay.
architectural structures. But she was like traveling the world. She was in California. She was in Europe traveling. Now she's settled in Spain. She's working as an architect, but she's doing like a remote work and she can be like
Wow.
anywhere. And so I want to say this, it's possible.
Hmm.
Whatever you want to do, if you want to work from home, if you want to work from an office, if you want to work from the beach, it's whatever it's for you, it's there for you, and all your desires are divine. You have to remember it, that it's for me. And I mentioned it before, Katerina,
Hmm.
human design, for me, it's a beautiful system that helped me understand myself.
Hmm.
And through that, I'm a 5-1 generator. The fives are here to break the old paradigms. So I'm really here to shift people's perceptions.
Hmm.
I am here to offer different ways, practical ways, how to see the world, how to do things, but with more ease.
Hmm.
And I feel like sometimes people don't like it, and it's fine because the fives, people either love you or they hate you. Like
Hmm.
there's not lukewarm with me. You either like me or you don't, but there is no like in the middle.
Got it.
And I want for people to understand that wherever they are, and it's everything, it's temporary. Like even when you were saying like the exams are challenging,
Hmm.
yes, they are, and it's temporary.
Yes.
This is not going to last forever. And you will grow like so much wiser out of that, not only because of what do you learn on the exams, but what do you learn about yourselves?
Hmm.
How you work, how you structure things, what do you need? Do you like to work alone? Do you like to work with others? Like learning about yourself is the most important thing. That's why I love human design. I
Hmm.
still do here and there one-off sessions because normally I'm focusing only on my business and life coaching. But human design, it's so dear to my heart that I feel like everyone gets to know it.
No, absolutely. And I want to touch base on human design with you because you've done human design for your baby girl, right? I've seen some of your reels and you are understanding her without her telling you how she's feeling, how, because she can't, she's 5 months old. She can't tell you, but you, which is amazing. I never thought of that to apply human design to your baby to help them with their sleeping schedule or just the personality or get to understand them without using speech,
Yes. Well, one, Mother's Day will always know.
right?
Like until you have a baby, you will never understand. I'm like, yeah, I get it because I used to have like mom's clients. No, you
Hmm.
don't.
Yeah.
You have no idea until you experience it literally, the sleepless nights and like, but it's everything. Like it completely shifts your priorities of how you see your world.
Hmm.
Like for me, I shifted how I lead my business. I shifted who I work with. I truly only want to be working with women who want to make the mark in the world, who want to
Mm.
make something significant. I don't want to like mess around. And, it's just changes so much because every time I'm doing something, like even sitting here with you,
Mhm.
I'm away from her. I don't want to be away from her. I don't
Mhm.
need a break. And if I need a break, I want to go take a nap or take a shower. I don't want to be working, you know?
No,
So, and
absolutely.
let's be honest. And I use human design for everything. She cannot talk, but I can feel her, one, as a mother.
Mhm.
Two, I'm already, listen, since day she was born, I am teaching her sign language. I
Wow.
just learned like a few words and I'm teaching her. Of course, she's not doing them yet. She's not even 5 months. However, she is seeing it and she will put it together. They
Mhm.
understand more than we think. They just
Mhm.
cannot express themselves in a way that we can understand, but they understand. But with human design, and it's so beautiful because she's a 5-1 sacral generator as me.
Interesting.
And I feel like it's so, because there's so many different options, like 4 different designs she could be, and
Hmm.
so many different profiles. It's personality. So 5-1 is just the personality, the conscious and unconscious, how you see yourself and how the world sees you. So she's like me. So I'm thinking the universe more making it a little bit easier on me. I'm like, I get it. I know how to ask you questions. As a generator, I always ask her yes and no question. And even though she cannot maybe answer, like sometimes I ask her and she starts laughing. I'm like, okay, I get it. That's the answer. So, but I'm incorporating human design with everything, with my marriage, with my friends, with my clients. Even if people come to me and they want to have a call with me, like they're interested in working with me, I want to know their birthday because I want to look at their human design. I want to see like what is their personality and how
Hmm.
can I serve them the best.
Yeah. I pulled up my human design chart. I'm not very fluent in human design, but as we were talking, I'm like, what am I? And I'm a generator with a 1-3 profile. And I don't.
Oh, I love it. My husband, it's 1-3. So 1-3, and for those who have no freaking idea what human design
Oh,
is,
yeah.
one, it's super quick, ask Uncle Google, but it's a system that really helps you understand your personality. It was downloaded in just like the 80s, so it's not like ancient, but it blends the ancient knowings like astrology and Kabbalah and I Ching. And it's just beautiful way how to really get to know yourself. When you get your free human design chart, and you can get one on my Instagram in my bio,
Mhm.
like in my links, like I have a free chart that can be like created for you, so you can look at there and start there just to understand. But when we talk about like the little numbers, that's your personality, that's the conscious and the unconscious. And from the 1-3, the one is the conscious for you. That's how you know yourself, that's how you see yourself. The one, I have it too, but it's for me, it's unconscious.
Mm.
The one is the investigator, the one is the one who wants to understand, goes into the details, who never thinks that they know enough. No matter how much they learn, no matter how much they study, they're like, oh, I can still do another course, another certification, I can read another book, listen to another podcast. Like there's always this doubt, like, do I know enough to do these things? So there can be sometimes the analysis paralysis with the
Mhm.
ones, but they love reading and educating themselves. I'm the same way, but I don't even like think about it. So for me, I just go and I do it, like
Mhm.
you tell me about something, I was like, oh, let me research it. So it's like a
Mhm.
research. The threes, so my husband, it's 1-3, my best friend, it's 1-3, and my mom, it's 1-3. So I'm just
Wow.
surrounded by the threes are the experimenters. The threes are the ones who have to go through the trial and error. So in your life, you will be going through everything that it's not working, so you like test it out for all of us, so you will, I'm sorry, but like I'm so grateful for you,
Thank
because
you.
you will go through all of the shit that's not working, and then you're like, guys, don't do that, don't go there, don't take it, don't try, don't, because, and the funny thing about the threes, you will try it once and you're like, let me try it again. Maybe the circumstances change and it's unconscious for you. So you don't even know you're doing it. And very often I see it in relationships, and I will use my husband as an example. I am 5, so I have like a higher perspective. Like if you imagine like a house,
Mhm.
and the profiles go like from the bottom, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's only 6 profiles,
Mhm.
and I'm 5, so I'm like on the balcony and I'm like looking out and looking at like higher perspective to see what everybody else is doing. The threes are like in the middle ground, but the threes are just like I said, like the trial and error, like trying everything that it's not working and failing through life. So for me, when my husband introduced me to his business partner, from a higher perspective and intuitively, I could feel like this can't work. No, this is
Mhm.
not going to be good. And he had to go through it. And it took him a couple of years. And he had to go through bankruptcy because of that. Now he had another business partner. And I'm like, yeah, no, this is not good. And he had to go through it. And it didn't work. And it was very painful, the separation. And then, like my husband was like months later, he was messaging with him. And I'm like, why you're doing that? Because I see in the threes very often they give a lot of chances to relationships, to people,
Mm.
to things that didn't work in the past. It's almost like the selective amnesia. Like forget how painful it was.
Yeah.
And subconsciously, you're like, oh, maybe this person changed. Maybe this person got better. Maybe this person already got it, and
Hmm.
I want to give them another chance. I'm like, no, you don't. So the threes are very beautiful for us because you tried, you tested, and we are like, okay, I'm not going there. I see it. It's on my husband and I see it on my mom. And it's even, oh my God, I have to give you like the newest example.
Okay.
My mom came here to be with us for a couple months, help with the baby girl. And we had to move like the beds from the top. We have two-story house from the top to the bottom. We moved the frame together on the stairs. And then we have a queen mattress that we wanted to move downstairs. I was like, hey, babe, why don't you just like throw it down? Just push it down, from the railing. And they're on the floor. And he takes the mattress and he just like releases down, straight down. And they're all my plants.
Oh my God.
I'm like, what the F you doing? I told you not to do that. And I'm like freaking out and yelling, because being generator, when things don't align, like we're frustrated. And plus
Mm.
I'm signed Taurus, so sometimes I can see red. And my husband, he looks at me down. He was like, hey, I don't appreciate you talking to me like this. I wouldn't want our daughter to see this. I'm like, I'm so sorry. Please forgive me. I shouldn't snap. I know. And it's just like I could see it happening in
Hmm.
front of my, what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the three, let me try it. Let me just do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
no, it's not going to work. So the trees are really beautiful and great experimenters of life. You just gotta go and get your hands dirty.
That sounds a lot. Yeah. And everything you've just said sounds very on point with me. And I'm also a generator too. And everything you've been saying, I have the map. I haven't fully had a reading done, but so I'm still some guests or some friends I'm understanding more and more. But I think the human design, like you said, it's helping you understand yourself and it takes so much into account. And that's one thing I like about it. And now that I've had a guest on, we talked about our animal kin. So animals we connect with. And talking about our in the Chinese calendar, what are we? And I'm a monkey, which has to do with curiosity. So it's interesting that you mention the three personality that has to do with experimentation and curiosity, or one was researching a lot, right? So it's interesting. It's just these tools you can use once you learn more about yourself. And I like that you incorporate human design and that you also don't try to change your husband because no matter what, he is going to be a three and a one and a three. You can't change that. That's what he is. And the fact that you let it happen and he just learns. But I think that is so important to be able to just understand that you can't force change and you can't force it upon people if that's just the way they are.
Yeah. And I feel like human design really gave me the permission to be me. That was like the
Mhm.
first thing that really helped me. Because in the past, I was thinking there's something wrong with me. I was thinking I'm lazy, like I don't want to like work hard. But in my design, in a channel, it's like human design, when you get the chart, you will see it's like a body. It's like a body graph. So you will see, and normally you will look at it and you're like, I don't understand a bleep about this, like
Yeah.
nothing. And you can get your human design reading. Like if anyone is really interested from this
Mhm.
podcast, I'm happy to send you a link with like a discount so we can do that afterwards. But
Yeah.
just really understanding the complete basic, like what is your design, because there are 5 different designs. What is your authority, meaning where is your intuition, how you're doing the right decisions, the best decisions. It's really important to you. And then you can go into the details, like we talk about, like the profiles and things like that, the personality. Because if you don't embody your design, if you don't embody your authority, meaning your decision making,
Mhm.
then nothing else matters. It's the
Yeah.
foundation.
Mhm.
This is just so life changing, and I feel like it really saved my marriage because my husband is manifesting generator.
Okay.
Which, have you seen the movie The Ice Age?
Yes.
There's this crazy squirrel always chasing stuff.
Yes.
Yep, so that's how I see my husband. Like he's like a crazy squirrel doing 10 things at the same time, always chasing something. And I'm like sitting here and chilling, and I'm so grounded. And it's like, money, Jenny, and three. It's
Yeah.
like zoom, 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 zoom. And I'm like sitting here, I'm like, I'm just tired just like watching you, And it's like a tennis, it's like a tennis tournament. I'm in my
Mhm.
head like this, you know, from one side to the other side. And I feel like understanding human design, and this is who he is. He will
Mhm.
always have do 10 different things at the same time. He will skip the steps. It's like I was just feeding because I'm breastfeeding our daughter. And when she's breastfeeding, she has like already two teeth. And when she gets distracted, she bites, or when she finishes, she bites. It's very painful.
Mhm.
And so I'm like, when she sleeps or eats, like you be super quiet, like don't even breathe around, It's like you have to be really quiet. And so like I was baking muffins. We have two ovens. I put it there. I text him very quietly, please go downstairs, remove the muffins. I'm feeding. I cannot do that. It's in the oven.
Mhm.
Both of the ovens are on. 40 minutes later, I'm done with the feeding and I find black muffins on the lower oven. And I'm like, you know how hard it is to even do anything with a baby? Like I was literally baking with the baby because she's teething, she's fussy, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's so hard to do anything, like doing dishes with two fingers, So if you burn something like my creation, it's painful.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Bro, I didn't even know that. Like, I don't even notice the second oven. Mine and Jenny skipping steps." So
Of
I think I would
course.
like kill him, but I know his personality. I know he's like designed this way. It's not he doesn't care. He cares deeply, but he's just skipping steps.
No. Well, it's his human design. Yeah, you can't change it like you said. And so you mentioned that you use human design, especially with your clients and helping them with their business. How
Yes.
how can people work with you then as a coach and as an abundance coach?
Love that question. Thank you for asking. So I feel like the best way really to see if we are even a good fit, because like I told you, Katerina, I'm so selective right now how I
Mhm.
invest my time. So I'm very selective who I work with. It's like handpicking the clients that I'm saying yes to. It has
Yeah.
to be really have an yes for me and really have an yes for them. So I feel like the best way is to schedule a free abundance activation call. I offer those. It's 30 minutes abundance activation call where I can see look at you, look at your life, we look at the strategies, we look at the energetics, we can look at where are the blind spots, when you might be feeling stuck, what you might not be seeing. And then if we feel amazing about each other, then we can talk about working together, because I do usually 6 months containers. So I told you I'm a very loyal person, and I
Yes.
know that in 6 months we can build anything from ground up. So that would be the easiest way to connect with me, and I can send you the link. And really later, also depending when you're launching this episode, I also have upcoming free masterclass, 5 steps to 5 figures.
Mhm.
It doesn't matter like where you are currently. I'm going to be sharing with you the exact steps that I took, and I'm teaching my clients how to create sustainable with ease, please, and simplicity 5 or multiple 5 figure months. So I can give you the link too, because that's coming in 2 weeks.
Yes, I did sign up for that actually, that masterclass.
Yay!
And this episode airs February 2nd. So I don't know if you'll have anything in the
May
works.
I will probably have a program, going
Okay.
on. I will have a program, and maybe we will use that as an evergreen, the masterclass later on, because
Mhm.
I know that, some people they just are not able to make it live, and I want them to have access. So we might have that. But the abundance activation call, while my mom is here for next 3 months, it's going on. I cannot promise like if this is like year after and you're listening to it,
Yeah.
and sometime in the future, the best way really to connect with me is on Instagram, because there you can see what am I doing currently, and just like we connected on Instagram too, and I think it's just such a beautiful place and platform when we choose to connect deeper.
No, absolutely. Well, Betya, this was an incredible conversation. I am so glad. I'm just so grateful you took the time to sit with me, share your story. Just we talked about human design. Now I have a little bit more of understanding of me. It makes sense. It definitely makes sense of why I am the way I am. But I'm just really grateful that we connected and that I was able to share your story on my podcast.
Thank you. I'm so happy that I could be here. I loved your questions. I love the
Thank you.
space. And I'm really willing that those who are listening are really inspired to see what is possible and just really listen back and ask yourself, what is the one thing that I can take away from this and I
Mhm.
can do something about it? Because it's one thing to listen to this amazing podcast and give it a 5-star review because
Yeah.
it's fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
But another thing is to take something away from it because sometimes we just, another book, another program, and
Mhm.
we don't do anything about it. Don't listen to another podcast episode and do nothing about it. Take one thing and run with it.
No, absolutely. Thank you. That was a perfect way to end the episode. I hope anybody listening takes that message from Petia and definitely check her out. I'll provide links in the show notes for everything we talked about, the coaching calls, and then where can listeners find you as well?
My favorite place is Instagram, Petia Kolibova. You can also tune into my podcast, Unapologetically Abundant. And I feel like those are like my two favorite places where I show up. And of course, if you go to my website, petiakolibova.com, like you will find everything there. It's like all of the details.
Perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming on From the Honeycomb podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for listening to this episode of From the Honeycomb podcast. As we conclude, I want to express my gratitude for joining me in today's episode. I hope you have found it insightful and inspiring. If you enjoyed today's episode, please take a moment to rate, review, and click that like button so you never miss an episode. And don't forget to share this with your friends. You can follow me on Instagram at From the Honeycomb Podcast, and you can also further your support of From the Honeycomb by visiting the Patreon link provided in the show notes. Your contribution helps make more episodes possible. And lastly, don't forget to subscribe to my monthly newsletter, A Spark of Positive Energy, that comes out on the 7th of each month. Thank you so much, and see you next Friday.